So we are here to talk public consumption of nicotine on college campuses, and we have identified our problem as how to have. We want to figure out how to have a healthy and clean campus without infringing on people's rights. So
Okay, so the problem that we have identified clearly was giving students and faculty members of college campuses the right to their to consume nicotine in public while keeping the campus as clean as possible in regards to the environment and secondhand smoke.
but we also want to make sure that we're not taking individuals, because it also depends on public versus private campuses. So we'll talk more about that later. Some facts that we've gone over, we could start talking about, kind of to figure out which way we're gonna go with our issue and what kind of solution we're gonna find. Just as a general knowledge, let me see what website stated this. ABC News stated that 1/3 of college students currently are smoking. So that would be a lot of individual rights that we would be taking away from people.
In the same way, there's 2/3 of people who aren't smoking.
Right.
So whose right has precedence? Is it the 1/3 that are smoking and have a right to smoke, or is it the people in 2/3 that aren't smoking? Do they have a clean air?
Yeah.
Going off of that, specifically Penn State being a public university, I would say that the precedence would go towards the 1/3 who can smoke or the 1/3 who smoke, because technically it is a public university and it should cater to everyone's needs. But at the same time, I know Penn State probably is focused on keeping a good reputation and a clean campus, and they have the mind. They probably keep in mind the other 2/3 that want to smoke, that don't want to smoke. So
Yeah, so I don't know the difference between public and private universities. I'm not sure how far that takes you in deciding if you can smoke for campus.
I think if it's private, they can tell you no.
Yeah, so I guess just they've decided for colleges who have decided to have a smoke-free campus, they have been saying that it's about protecting the health of younger adults who make up the largest demographic of students. And the purpose is that it is the rights of non-smokers from being exposed to secondhand smoke. So what do you guys think that secondhand smoke, what kind of an impact decision to have a smoke-free campus?
I think it's definitely drinking and having a dry campus, because when you consume alcohol, you're only affecting yourself, whereas you have secondhand smoke, so you're affecting other people who may not feel the same way about that, and they don't necessarily have a choice when they're walking around campus.
I think students and faculty on campus should feel safe whenever they're on campus, and the potential for secondhand smoke to take that protection away probably. It deters some people.
Yeah, people have a right to come to school and feel safe and not feel like they're hurting their bodies by being there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, secondhand smoke is definitely a huge issue. Apparently it resulted in 40,000 deaths in the U.S. alone, which is wild.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a fact
right.
that some smokers might
So that's a big contribution to the to stopping smoking on campuses.
I guess in regards to the environmental issue, just letting anyone smoke on campus and discarding of cigarette butts anywhere can definitely litter a campus and make the environment a lot worse, because those butts don't really break down, they just stay there.
Yeah.
And if they're not cleaned up, then it can harm the environment even more.
Yeah, I know Penn State is really focused on their
Clean campus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The being a clean campus and like exposing of things correctly. So I'm sure that is a huge um, issue that Penn State is focusing on when they decided to make Penn State a smoke-free campus. Yeah, Penn State's actually the 11th school in the Big Ten Conference to implement a smoke-free campus, which is cool.
So, in regards to a possible solution, three ways to look at it. We can let the college campuses do what they want and go for an anything goes type of thing. We could completely restrict smoking altogether and the use of tobacco products, and we could mix both and give smoking allowed areas like throughout the campus.
Yeah, like designated smoking areas.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
Well, I think that in order to decide which solution we think is best to implement, we have to look at like each solution and see if we have the resources and it's reasonable to implement these solutions before kind of deciding. So, do you guys want to focus on having a non-smoking campus, like completely non-smoke? Like, what do you guys think the benefits of that would be?
Well, I guess starting out with the bad things, it kind of easier in that situation.
Yeah.
Just because smokers are going to get upset because they're going to have to people who rely on like 5 cigarettes a day, they're going to have to go completely off campus to get that, and that's definitely going to cause some problems.
Yeah, and it is their right, like especially on a public campus, like people who do smoke will feel like they have the right to be there and the right to be smoking because of where they go to school.
Mm-hmm. And especially with Penn State being a huge campus, it's not easy to walk off campus to do something that you do multiple times a day.
Right.
As it's like public campus, like everyone have their rights, so we need to come up with a solution to both smokers and non-smokers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there definitely is going to be a middle ground. We just need to figure out what that is first. I was also thinking about having a smoke-free campus. Aside from just taking away the rights from individuals, like a lot of people are just going to be like probably mad about it.
Yeah.
Like it may cause a lot of issues to the university or the college that they don't want to have to deal with.
Do you think like e-cigarettes and like Juuls should be banned as well, or are we saying like no?
I don't know.
Tobacco
That's
consumption.
hard because like you're not disposing of anything. I don't know. Can you get secondhand smoke from?
Yeah.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're taking away cigarettes and saying like one of the reasons is because of secondhand smoke, I don't really think that you can say that you're allowed to have electric cigarettes. Like I think it all has to be combined into one, or else it won't work.
But at the same time, they did make those for
right
in order to give people that same like sensation while not hurting others around them. So while there probably is some side effects, it would be better. It would be like a step up, definitely. Yeah. And regarding the environment, there still could be some issues because I see Juul pods and stuff like that
everywhere.
And those don't break down.
Yeah, and those don't break down.
Yeah, the e-cigarettes also like impact the environment of the campus.
Yeah, I don't know if just making a non-smoking campus is the right move. I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about if we have a just don't change anything and it's a completely, you can do whatever you want, you can smoke. It's kind of, this point is kind of like giving into the people's rights. Like you don't want to infringe on people's rights because they are their own person and they have their rights and they can do whatever they want, especially in a public environment. What do you guys think about that point?
Well, I think in my research I found that secondhand smoke doesn't affect like the same across all demographics. So in kids, like it's more of an effect than in adults. So if you have younger kids like touring the campus or seeing their siblings here, I'm not sure that it's fair to expose them to that. But at the same time, like whenever you go anywhere, you're exposed to things that aren't good.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in this solution that we're talking about, not doing anything and just keeping, you can smoke wherever you want. I feel like that the benefit of this would be like keeping people happy and keeping people, like letting people have the rights that they feel they can have in America. Like I think in America, like that is something that we pride ourselves on, like having your own rights, like your ability to do what you want. And taking that away, I don't know if that would have like a positive benefit. Or
Yeah, going off of that, like because I researched a lot about like the environmental impact. Clearly, like State College is a very, I'm gonna say, overpopulated area for the size of it. So when you like jam a lot of people into an area and whatever they want, it's gonna probably, without regulation, it's definitely gonna get like a little dirty.
right.
And I guess and making a campus do that, like people have to come to campus every day, so it's almost at like max capacity, like every day. So imagine just having if you gave everyone the ability to smoke cigarettes, and it would just be like a huge cloud. You know what I mean? It would just yeah. So
Yeah.
I think like you have to take into account the amount of people that are in the area as well.
Yeah, so that's probably a good segue into our next option that we could have is kind of a mixture of both. What we said before, having smoking allowed areas on campuses so that the people who don't want to be around it don't have to be around it, and so that we know where to target the areas of where like cleanup needs to happen.
Definitely, and like our smoking allowed areas would include areas that are not extremely overpopulated. Like, for example, here at Penn State, near the hub, definitely probably wouldn't be allowed.
Or just any class buildings.
Yeah, near entrances of buildings, because near doorways it could get in and contaminate the whole building. Or anywhere where it was definitely made a point for the landscape to look the way it is, because
say Old Main.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that, or
because
the
we don't want
Arboretum,
because we don't want like cigarette butts being littered throughout the pretty flowers that were just planted. Like definitely not. But
I think that this is a pretty good solution just because it gives it all people are still allowed to be satisfied with where they are. There's places where you can go and smoke if you want. If you don't want to be around it, you don't have to be around it. Like everyone is happy. Do you guys see any negatives in this? I don't really.
I think it should definitely be more than one place on campus because, like, if you think about dining commons, there's, what is it, like 5, and then there's the hub and these other places. So it's kind of like there isn't just one place to go for food. In the same way, like, someone who smokes probably needs to go more than once a day. Right. And they're probably not going to be, North Campus, like, all day. They might be around. So maybe having multiple locations might be a good idea.
I agree. Just like having it accessible in kind of all parts of campus is important.
Maybe a negative could be like if you give someone like a little bit of leash, they're just gonna run with it. So So like, who's to say that area they're 20 feet out? They're like, oh, I'm basically in the area. It's
that's what I was saying. Like, how do you regulate this?
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely a negative. Like, I don't know how anyone is going to be regulating this, and like, what are you going to do if someoone's outside the smoking zone? Like, are you gonna yell at them?
Yeah, you're gonna have cameras, but then it's like, okay, well, who's gonna run over to that area?
I think you talked about, wasn't there like other campuses had like a
it's the on CNN there was an article called "College Tells Smokers You're Not Welcome Here." So this was at the University of Kentucky. Students and staff have been campus grounds scouting out any student, employee, or visitor using cigarettes. So they basically compared themselves to hall monitors, but they're basically just cigarette monitors or nicotine monitors. So yeah, they would just make them put it out, dispose of it properly, or just tell them they're not allowed to do that, whatever, depending on the severity probably of the situation, I don't know. But yeah, I don't
I don't know. I know
our
Penn
campus
State's-
is too big for that.
Penn State's policy right now, even though we're smoke free, like we're not smoke free
Mhm.
really. And I looked it up one time because I was curious, and their policy basically is just everybody's supposed to kind of patrol, and so you're just supposed to like go up to somebody, but it's like I'm not a confrontational
Yeah.
person. I'm not
It's
gonna
like
do
The
that.
bystander effect.
Yeah. So I don't.
And also, in like relation to that, I don't feel like I have the right to tell someone
Mhm.
what they can and can't do with their own
Yeah.
body,
Mhm.
even if they're on a smoke-free ground. I still don't think I would feel comfortable telling someone they can't do something.
Mhm.
Like we may think it's harming them and harming others, but I wouldn't want to say something.
I know like America is very big in like trying to limit smoking and stuff in public areas. Well, how's like where you're from with that? Have you noticed anything?
Yeah, like
Do they make it like an effort to try and like limit smoking more?
I think like from anywhere, like first you cannot tell your friends
Mhm.
you cannot smoke at all, and like anything you kind of have a little bit like regulations
Mhm.
on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you can go about this. If like, I don't think there are two extremes. Like, I don't think you can just say no more smoking, totally like cut it out for good. And I don't think you can say like, oh yeah, we don't care. Like, you can smoke whatever on our college campuses and just like affect whoever you want. Like, I don't think we can go with either extreme when we're finding our solution to the problem.
What if so we have the designated areas
Mhm.
for smoking? What if there was almost like I don't want to say police, but like volunteer
Oh,
police
yeah.
force maybe?
I
Like
could see that. I'm
you
sure
know,
people.
yeah, like if you feel the need that and you're okay with confrontation, like you can be a
Mhm.
part of that group that goes out. But I wouldn't necessarily make it like mandatory for all
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely like a demographic there for that. Like
Mhm.
for people, like there's enough. We have so many different like specialized clubs. I'm sure there's already one made for that, just not like implemented. As far as like implementation goes, that's I think it's definitely the most feasible option.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
it's pretty low cost if you think about it, unless you reconstructed like a couple areas. But
So you're saying you think the kind of in between
yeah,
is what we should implement?
yeah, like
Okay.
like not making like a new area, but maybe like setting up like some shrubbery like in like a square, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like okay, like so you don't really see them and like maybe it could like contain the smoke a little bit.
Seen in airports in Europe, they have like this wouldn't obviously make sense here, but something like this. They have like little booths
Yeah.
in the airport where you can go
Smoke.
inside and smoke. So the smell like stays contaminated. in
Mhm.
there,
I think
or
also having
contains, sorry.
like clear borders, so it's not just like that grassy area. No, like okay, here's the end of the shrub or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like so having
Yeah.
a clear
And like
area.
have disposable like a trash can to
Mhm.
dispose of
Yeah.
your butts or something. So do we think that
I think that's our solution.
yeah. Do we think that it should be the same for like e-cigarettes and jewelry?
Should be fair.
I think there's really no other way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that if you are trying to quit smoking, I think I don't know if we can do like exceptions, but I don't know.
I definitely think because I personally have seen people use their electronic cigarette in like the library and in buildings and stuff.
Oh yeah,
So clearly, like that should be made more of a point, maybe,
Mhm.
to not
Mhm.
have that.
like almost like in campus buildings, like even on campus residence halls, I know people definitely use their e-cigarettes, but off-campus residence halls, like there's no really regulation, so I don't know if the solution would be on campus, off campus. It doesn't matter. Like if you're in your own space and it's an e-cigarette, it doesn't really else. Like you can do that, but
yeah, you can't really say one thing and have,
yeah.
no, I agree.
So I don't know.
Okay, when you are in this, have your friends ever like ask you if they can smoke?
Not in my personal situation, but I know that definitely happens,
Like,
especially in
They
like
will ask you if they can smoke like here, at a place or
cigarettes
like
or electric.
like both.
Oh,
For example, they're like vaping in their dorm.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're asking if they can.
Yeah.
Oh, like asking
Yeah.
before doing.
Yeah.
That's smart too. Yeah.
Like if we have like specific areas for
Mhm.
them to do, I think that'd be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's smart.
So I think maybe we should talk about pros and cons of this solution we're gonna implement. So maybe do you guys want to start with pros? I mean, I think the pros are pretty obvious.
Yeah, definitely containing the secondhand smoke
Yeah.
with an area.
Like letting people continue having their rights. Like
Mhm.
going back to our question of infringing on people, we don't want to infringe on people's rights. This wouldn't infringe on their rights. It wouldn't take anything away from them.
Might make them work like a little harder to get to those places, but
Yeah, and it would still help us to like better our campus and have a cleaner campus, which is important.
yeah.
And
I guess like containing the secondhand smoke is always a good thing, but also containing the amount of waste, because
Right.
if you're not able to walk and smoke at the same time, you're less likely to just flick a butt or something like that.
Yeah.
And if we provide waste bins for the butts, it's and waste bins for electronic cigarette
Yeah, it'd be less likely to
cartridges. Yeah, I think it would give people more of an incentive to want to be in those areas.
Right,
And
less pollution, better for the environment.
Yeah. better for the health of everyone else.
I think another pro is just kind of, I think it would maybe help cut back smoking in general. Like, I think if it makes it a little bit harder and more difficult for someone to, like they'd have to go out of their way to, it would kind of cut it back a little, because people wouldn't want to go out of their way. Like, they're used to just being able to do it wherever they want, but now that they would have to stop doing that, I think it could help scale back the smoking
You
population.
don't want to make it too difficult,
Mhm.
but if
Right.
you just make it just difficult enough, then it might discourage it,
Yeah.
or at least discourage people who are considering it to.
Anyone else have any more comments?
Yeah, that's going along with that, Penn State's values definitely, in an article I read recently, it says that Penn State is exploring the Smoke Society or the Cancer Society Tobacco-Free Generation Initiative. So definitely not promoting smoking and making it a point that it's not welcome at the campus, but definitely not giving people an incentive to smoke aligns with Penn State and most college campus values.
So anyone see any cons to this? I mean, there are obviously a few cons, especially regarding our problem, not infringing on people's rights, and that goes back to what we were saying before, taking away their right to smoke in a public area, that could cause big problems.
I think also, I think also just, the first couple of years, it'll definitely affect people who may not have signed up for it.
Yeah.
But as freshmen, roll through and everything, as they're looking at the school, they'll know that okay, there's separate areas for smokers and stuff, and so at a certain point, it won't be a surprise anymore. Like prospective students will know this going in, so it's kind of like knowing that you get so many points for like meals and stuff. Like it's just part of when you look at a college.
Another con I can think of would be the money issue. You know, you're spending money to make these designated smoking areas, even if it's just a small amount of money to get a disposable thing, cigarettes in. Just like small little things like that all over campus will definitely add up.
Yeah, I
Even money to like hire people to
clean the area. Yeah.
or watch out for smokers in not designated areas. It just will all add up, I think.
Yeah, research that I did said most cities, one of the most expensive things they do in order to maintain the city is cigarette butt waste cleanup, which is kind of crazy if you think about it because they're this big. But when they add up and they can get into waterways and stuff, and Penn State being such a rural campus, it's very large, has a lot of greenery. It can definitely be seen how the effects that can happen. So, and I guess another con going along, the boundaries. Some people may not take those boundaries into consideration and still just do what they want. But I guess you kind of just have to account for that kind of risk in anything. So
yeah, just another con that goes along with that is just the regulation. Well, it's just I don't know. Since we don't have that here right now, I'm not sure how it would play out. But having to, I don't know, train these people and figure out how, what's the barrier? What, can you actually tell these people you have to put that cigarette away? Having to figure out what to exactly say and what to do.
Going along with that, I think another part of our solution can just be general, education to the public about because a lot of people is they don't know what the policy is.
Yeah, so that's a big responsibility.
Yeah,
that
we'd have to account for educating everyone, putting signs up. In the hub, I know there's so many signs and information sessions, and I know we have to take an alcohol course before you even get into.
Yeah,
this,
before you become a freshman.
Yeah, so maybe informing them of what kind of other policies they have on campus, such as the smoking and drug use and stuff like that. I think that would also be really beneficial.
Yeah, I think it definitely is the responsibility of the people who are going to be implementing this solution to get the word out there and make sure everyone knows that it's happening and it's a thing. Because if people don't know about it, then that's not it's not fair.
And that would even help for the people who do feel that it is their right to who go up to someone who's smoking and tell them no, this isn't allowed. I think that would only that would help those people because they would learn about what the policy is and feel and be kind of the person to stop them and we wouldn't really need to hire another or to create another maybe but just purely educating
getting
people.
The word out.
Yeah,
people wouldn't we wouldn't have to stop them because they just wouldn't be doing it. Hopefully,
exactly.
I mean that's the hope of the solution.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much it.
I was just gonna wrap it up, but so we all good with this idea of creating spaces on campus that you can smoke in, and is that pretty much it?
Yeah, I definitely think we still I think that there are still things to discuss just because I don't want to take away people's rights.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know if there are more things we can add to our solution to kind of make it better.
Could I mean, I don't want there to be incentives where like it promotes smoking, but at the same time, like, is there a way that we can help smokers, like, go to these designated spots?
Yeah, I get what
Yeah.
you're saying. Like once they're there, like, but then yeah, I see what you're saying. You don't want to promote them like going there
Yeah.
because they don't like to get the incentive.
Yeah.
And then they start smoking, and then
Yeah.
that would defeat the purpose. But I get what you're saying. I like where you're headed.
I mean, I think Penn State is such a so heavily focused on health and wellness that I know like a lot of people who came here, like my freshman year, a lot of people were like, yeah, I see all these people walking around and go to the gym all the time. They just promote me to want to like do better and like live better. And there's always in the hub and stuff, health and wellness. I think we are definitely like one of like we pride ourselves on things like that.
Something that like kind of going along with that, the like in all the residence halls and the library and the commons and whatever, all the places on campus have all of the trash bins of the different things to put in them, like recycling, compost, trash, whatever. Next to a lot of these bins, there's a TV. I know I live on campus, and right when you walk inside, the TV is kind of censored, and it goes off and it starts talking about how Penn State is big on like recycling and saving the environment. So even something like that, when you walk into the smoke-free area or the smoking areas, the designated smoking could like change because I
Like
know
giving like the stats, like
Yeah.
sometimes like the
when I hear those
trash
things, I'm
cans
like,
do.
oh my gosh, now it makes me want to recycle more or
Mhm.
put compost in more.
No, I agree. Like seeing like right here we have like the line of trash cans and like they say like what goes in it and like give you kind of like some information about like recycling and like the constantly is definitely like a good reminder. So maybe like putting like signs up like in front of these areas and just like being
or even all over campus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like seeing it all the time.
I never seen like recycling like this.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
At
definitely
home, you don't have this.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
and I know this I
Neither
know
do
like
I. I don't have this at home either.
Yeah. And I know like this is like a student run club that does this.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's Net Impact that like facilitates like this stuff. So like I'm sure if there was another
Yeah, like along with
Group.
our our solution, we could add that into our solution, like getting together
Just
a
public
team
awareness.
of people,
Yeah.
a team of people who could go around campus and make it aware.
yeah.
I think when it's clear, like, with the recycling, when it's clear, like, what exactly goes in each bin, that really helps. Like, when it just says compost, it's
Mhm.
like, well, like, is this chicken? Is that okay to put in
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
So when it's clear, I think a lot of people are more willing to, like, listen or pay attention.
yeah, like one section could be for cigarette butts, one could be for jewel pods,
Mhm.
one could be for I don't know.
Just regular
Mixed.
trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea to add to our solution.
Yeah, I agree.
Did anyone see any negatives about that?
Yeah, I was just
Cons?
about to say. Oh, I'm going back to like the healthy and like health promoting campus and stuff, such as Penn State. Like possibly a con of even creating these areas would be like, I just going against the values of like the health and wellness like incentives basically that Penn State promotes. Like they'll be
Okay.
exactly like they're
Mhm.
like, okay, you're kind of promoting it. But technically they're not. They're just trying to limit it and suppress it. But that's just like something that I can foresee happening by chance.
I think a way to like kind of move that down. I don't know how to say reduce that. Would be just like we were saying before, awareness of why we're doing it. Just so people don't think that we're doing this to help promote smoking, but actually to help reduce it and
Yeah.
help the environment and keep people's rights and
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah, and maybe like along with that, like the putting up these like signs, like informing people of like how it's harming the environment. Like maybe throw in there how it could possibly like harm yourself and your body too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just
slightly.
like seeing that
Yeah.
could deter some people, which is a good thing.
The regulation can be put it there, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean to
Doesn't-
like limit or.
Yeah, you don't. We're not
restrict
taking away your rights. We
Yeah.
could. It's kind of like what we've been trying to do, but like we're not taking anything away from you.
Well, and I don't know like what is available. Like I know that there's like I don't know if there's anything that they do that the university does for trying to stop smoking. But
Oh, no.
you know, if they're gonna have these things, they might as well promote classes or counseling or whatever
Yeah.
for how to stop smoking. So it doesn't seem like, oh, we actually want them to smoke. It's no, we're trying to condense it into one area. And if you want to stop smoking, definitely like promote that and you know, like the cap stuff, like
Mhm.
it's everywhere. It's in like the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
things and
Yeah.
Like
all
on
over
the
campus.
stall stories,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and
Um,
that kind of goes along, like, just a question for you guys. Do you think, like, we would have the resources to do that at Penn State,
I think so.
to
100%.
implement all this?
Oh yeah,
Like, the time, the money,
mhm.
everything.
easily.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
mean-
kind of like building upon what's already there.
yeah. It's such a big campus and such a big community, I think
Mm-hmm.
we would easily be able to do it.
Yeah.
The problem with this solution is I'm not sure which other college campuses would be able to implement this solution just because of the differences in the size and the money and
Demographics,
the
yeah.
that they have. So
No, I agree. So what another thing that popped in my head? How do you think this would affect, like that line between like campus and off campus? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because I don't know, like I personally don't know when I'm on campus or off campus. Like I
Yeah.
know once you're downtown, you're off campus, but
I think when it's like right on College Ave, you're off, like on the other side.
then maybe on the other side of campus, like I don't know when I'm
North
on or
Campus
off.
is a lot hazier on what those borders are.
Yeah.
So maybe having signs that say like you are now leaving campus or you
Yeah, I
know
think that could
stuff like
definitely
that
help.
might help with that.
Like having signs that be like you're now like you are entering a smoke-free zone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Do you think that would affect like the concentration of smoke on like downtown parts, like right outside our border? Or you know what I'm talking about? Like since like you can't smoke on campus, they'll just be like, oh, let me just walk to the end of College Ave and just
Mhm.
smoke.
Yeah, I mean, I know at my high school, I would see people after school like go
Across the
literally
street.
across the street
Yeah.
and smoke cigarettes. And it was bad. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like it definitely wasn't a positive thing having them right across the street. Like it wasn't benefiting anyone. We could all still smell it, and it was still throwing waste everywhere. So I don't know.
David, were you gonna say something?
I don't want them to think like if we don't allow them to smoke in campus, they just go out of campus and smoke. Like
Yeah.
like I think everyone like here is representing Penn State and like those solutions like first is like to help the campus and the second is help themselves. So
Smart. Yeah. Yeah, and at the same time, it's like once you step off campus, you're in like a real city. So it's like, can you really
yeah.
take away people's rights who don't even go to the campus or don't even go to Penn State? You know,
Yeah.
I guess that's just like another like
It's another risk of our solution,
Yeah.
but I think there are definitely a few risks to our solution, but I think there's a lot more benefits and positives.
I agree.
I think that it would ultimately be for the greater good of our community and for just college campuses in general to have a solution like this implemented.
I agree.
I definitely feel like no matter what you do with a solution, nobody's going to be completely happy. It's not going to be 100% perfect. But I do feel like this is a really good compromise
Yeah.
between the groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's right, but at the same time, with educating them of what could possibly happen,
Yeah.
I think it will definitely deter people. Hopefully,
I think so too.
yeah, and it definitely aligns with our values that we established in our problem of having a healthy and clean campus, as well as aligns with most normal college campuses' values. I
Right.
think of having like a clean, reputable campus that people will feel safe in.
Yeah.
Personally.
I I do think that if we implement this solution, it would make a big difference. So
Yeah. Also, if we offer them like smoking area, I think they also need to keep these areas clean. Yeah, because once those areas is like it's dirty, they don't want to go there, and they will choose other place to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we agree this solution should be implemented at Penn State and also just colleges around the country.
Yeah, and it's definitely, in our opinion, the best way to keep clean, healthy campuses without infringing completely on people's rights.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.